Hi guys, welcome back. My name is Scott, and today we're going to be doing a very simple paint scheme for the Wadroon Braves from Conquest, The Last Argument of Kings. So let's go ahead and dive into how I've painted these models. We're going to start this project off by priming our models using Wraithbone Spray Primer from CItadel. The first thing we're going to work on for this model is the skin. We're going to start with Deathguard Green as the base color for the skin. Once we've applied our skin color, we're going to shade all of the skin using Agrax Earthshade. And we're not going to apply this too heavily, we just want enough even coverage over the surface to fill in the recesses and help us identify where the muscle curvature is at. After we've allowed the shade to dry, we're going to take Elysian Green and we're going to use this to highlight all of the raised surfaces of the muscles. But we're not going to put this in any of the recesses because we want to maintain that muscle definition that the shade has given us. Now that we've finished working on the skin on the model, we're going to start working on the clothing. We're going to use Barak-Nar Burgundy as the base color for this. We're going to paint this anywhere that he has robes or mantles or any major pieces of fabric clothing on the models. Now we're going to take Carroburg Crimson and we're going to use this to wash all of the clothing we just painted. You can go as heavy or as light as you'd like on this. It doesn't really make much of a difference in this situation. Once we've allowed that shade to dry, we're now going to highlight all the raised parts of the clothing using Screamer Pink. We're just picking out any edges or creases that have been sculpted into the model. With that step done, it's now time to start working on all of the brown parts of the model. We're going to start with Baneblade Brown, and this is the first of a series of brown colors we're going to use to highlight the different leathers and wood pieces that are on the model. The next brown we're going to use is Dryad Bark, and we're going to put this on the haft of the spear. We're also going to put this on his helmet, any spots that we feel like they were meant to be made out of wood. Before we do our next color of brown, I thought it would be a good idea to pick out all of the bone parts of the model. So I use Morghast Bone as the base color for this. Just be careful not to get this white color on the areas surrounding the bones. Our next step is to take Mournfang Brown. We're going to use this to pick out all of the straps on the model, as well as any trim that's around the other leather parts of the model. Now that all of our brown colors are in place, we're going to take Agrax Earthshade, and we're going to use this to wash all of the brown parts of the model. Now just be careful, we are not putting this on the bone. We are going to do a separate color on the bone later. And you can go as heavy as you'd like with the shade at this step. Now for the bone parts of the model, we're going to take Contrast Skeleton Horde, and we're going to do a nice heavy wash using this color. Now just be careful not to get this on the skin or any of the areas around the bone. And make sure to let it pool up nice and heavily in any holes that are in the bones, such as the eyes. Once both of our shade colors have dried, we're going to start dry brushing using Baneblade Brown, and we're going to do this on all of the brown parts of the model. Now this may seem a little bit rushed and sloppy, but we are going to be painting somewhere around 50 of these minimum for our army, so it's good to take a faster technique. We're going to do the same thing on the bone using Screaming Skull, and just be careful not to get this paint on the area surrounding the bones. With all of that done, we're now going to begin working on the fur and the stone parts of the model, such as the spearhead. We're using Dawnstone as the base color for this. Next we're going to take Leadbelcher, and we're going to use this to highlight any of the buckles or any other metal parts, maybe knife blades that are on some of the models. We're going to shade both the gray and the silver areas using Nuln Oil. Once that Nuln Oil has dried, we're going to take Gray Seer and we're going to dry brush this over the stone and the fur parts of the model. Now it's time to begin working on the feathers on the model, and we're going to use Jokaero Orange as the base color for the feathers. And you can do really whatever color you want for your feathers, but you should still follow the same basic steps that I follow here. Our next step is to shade the feathers using Nazdreg Yellow. This is going to turn the feathers a little bit darker. It gives it a bit of a brown tone in the recesses of the feathers. Once we've allowed that contrast paint to dry, we're going to take Trollslayer Orange and we're going to draw little horizontal lines going up and down the length of the feathers, giving the appearance of different fibers in the feather. Our next step is to take Averland Sunset, and we're going to do the same thing, but we're only going to start doing the highlight lines about halfway up the feathers. We're going to do one more layer of highlighting, this time using Yriel Yellow. This is going to be our brightest highlight, and we're going to start about halfway up the yellow section that we painted in the previous step. Our final step is to begin painting the eyes, and we're going to use Averland Sunset and just kind of pick out where we feel the eyes are meant to be. They're not as clearly sculpted as you might expect on other models, so just do your best to pick out where you think the eyes should be. Now if you overpaint on the eyes at all, you'll want to take Elysian Green and just go and pick out the border around the eyes. Figure out where the eyelids are and just repaint those using this color. And now, for our final step, we're just going to take a little bit of Abaddon Black, and we're just going to put a little dot in the center of each eye. Just try to line these up so they are looking the same direction, so you don't get cross-eyed models. And with that, we finished painting our Wardrune Braves. Thank you so much for watching today. I really hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, go ahead and like it, and then subscribe to my channel, and then go ahead and join my Facebook group, where you can show me your own paint work. As always, have a great day, and we'll catch you in the next one.